Evening, Mr. Mayor.
How we doing? Hi, Robbie. How do you know? Oh, yes. I think we're meeting with him this week.
You know you haven't had a good year.
Yeah.
You know you've got 103 explanation of benefit in your EOB file. That's not a good sign.
No, no.
I started to total up those bills just in my head the other day that I got from being sick.
Oh, yeah, I can
Oh, yeah.
imagine. Yeah.
Once I got that to six figures, I said, I don't want to add that anymore. Then, unfortunately, I don't have to pay it, but it doesn't do me.
It's still
Don't worry about it.
staggering.
Yeah. Oh, copyright was 32,000. We'll go ahead and call the December meeting of the Board of Aviation Commissioners of the City of Warsaw to order. You should all have received a multitude of documents electronically. I think pretty much everybody does them electronically now.
Except me.
Okay. But you should have received them in whatever format you received them. And the first thing to consider is the minutes from November 9th meeting.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Next, claims. Nick, what do you have for us you'd like to discuss particularly?
Well, let's see here. The main ones that you guys are probably curious about, core mechanical, that was the finishing of that sanitary sewer work that we were doing to fix our hookup to the leach bed. Excuse me, I was completely brain farted on the septic system there, but we were having some clogging issues, and so Core came out and got all that straightened up for us and got a new dishwasher installed at the same time. And then DBT transportation for $18,478. That is the contract that you guys approved at the November meeting. We got that paid out, and that's for our ILS maintenance. Outside of that, I don't see anything too out of the ordinary unless you guys have a specific question about something.
Any further questions, comments?
I move we accept the claims as presented, especially the $32,869.05 to Accent Aviation Group.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Next, engineers report. Is Robert on the line with us? I see his initials. I see a face. Okay.
Can't hear you, buddy. Let's see. Can you try now, Robert? No, you're not muted, are you? Here, I'll just call you.
Technology is great when it works.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, that's gonna be bad. Mute your computer. Well, let me figure this out. While I work on this, Robert, we're gonna put you on hold for a minute while I try and figure this out. And then, I'm gonna move forward a little bit, if that's okay with the board. My high school interns have a presentation that we can start while I troubleshoot IT stuff.
Sure.
Is that okay? All right, well, this was going to be a part of the ongoing business. You can still hear us, Robert? I have two high school interns that I have been working with this year. They are working out at the airport for me, doing everything from fueling aircraft, mowing grass, they are both interested in being pilots. And we are working on trying to broaden their horizons into the management side as well. And so when you guys asked that we look at adding facility fees and some other service charges at the airport, I thought that would be a really good project for the two of them to work on, with some guidance and let them call other airports, see how other airports operate. And they've been working on that diligently for about the last 4 or 5 weeks. And they met with Dan and John last week and presented some of their findings to them. They honed that information down a little bit further for a final presentation for the board. And if you two would like to go on up to the podium, I will let you present your facility fees. Robert, if you want to just try talking real quick to see if that headphone works. No? All right, let me call somebody while they're talking and I will be right back. All right, we have Will Hall and Jonathan West.
Who's
And-
Will?
I'm Will.
Will, Jonathan,
Yep.
okay, guys.
So I'm Will, yep, that's John. All right, yeah, so we've been working on facility fees that Nick assigned us a few weeks ago. And when we met with Mr. Yingling and Mr. Robinson, we discussed and went over fees that we've gathered by calling other airports around this area and throughout Indiana, and they're all public use airports such as ours. And
Yeah, so Warsaw Municipal Airport has not been charging aircrafts ever since they've been open. And public use airports all over Indiana and the country charge simple fees such as ramp and tie-down fees, landing fees, dishwashing fees, lavatory cleaning fees, and this is just some of our proposal.
so yeah, lots of airports have been doing it, and we feel like we should jump on it because it's honestly extra money for the airport. And some of the ideas that we've been going through are ramp and facility fees, or a fuel fee, like you pay up, overnight fee, and a dishwashing fee. This was what we came down to. We had 3 proposals that we went over with Mr. Eaton and Mr. Robinson, and we all kind of agreed to set aside all the others and focus on this one. So beginning, we have a multi-engine piston fee. It would be a $25 ramp, or you would pay or get 25 gallons of fuel. And then moving down the list, we have turboprop that starts out with a $50 ramp fee or 50 gallons of fuel. And it keeps going down or on the line, so we're just separating it into different classes. So small jets would be $100 ramp or 100 gallons, and so on. Like mid jets, $150 ramp fee or 150 gallons. Large jets, $200 on the ramp or 200 gallons of fuel. Now, we did set aside separate fees for all aircraft, excluding general aviation aircraft. We would have our own overnight and tie-down fee, which is open for discussion. And we would have a flat fee of $40 for dishwashing if a charter craft or any such fluid did need a dishwashing service. And then we were discussing a lavatory cleaning fee, which would be semi-far in the future, but we are open for discussion on that one.
Just to hit the last 3 before we get into the real meat and potatoes, lots of aircraft ask about an overnight or a tie-down fee. They're spending the night, what does that cost them? We've never had that fee in the past. It is 50-50 as to whether airports do have that as a fee on their field. So that is why we left that as an open discussion. When we spoke with Dan and John, we were kind of on the fence. If they buy gas or are paying a ramp fee, do we charge an additional overnight fee? We weren't really sure the best way to go on that. Lavatory fees is something that we have not had to offer that service. Our airframe and power plant mechanic offered that. It is the same thing as doing a lavatory service on an RV or a motorhome. It's the same hookups, the same type of cart. Now that that is not offered as a service through our local A&P, that is something that we have been asked if we would consider offering. I've talked with a few tenants who have businesses at the field to see if they would be interested in offering that service. To date, there has been no interest, but that doesn't mean that won't change. But I just wanted to bring that up to the board as another possibility for other services that we could offer in the future.
Would that require buying equipment to do this?
Yes, there would be a one-time upfront fee or cost of purchasing a they're called lav carts. I mean, if you get one that'll service an airline, you're looking at $150,000, $200,000. We're obviously looking for, we need 10 gallons, 8 to 10 gallons at most. It's not very much at all. And they're anywhere from new $6,000 to $15,000. You can get really nice used ones from other FBOs for probably half of that. So it was just an idea that they had heard about calling around. In the back of my head, I knew that the Air Care used to offer that. They don't anymore. And it's something that could potentially be another service offered to our flight crews coming and going.
What did Air Care do with their equipment?
I believe it's been sold. I will check on that though.
If it only requires roughly 10 gallon, why not just get a portable RV cart dump station? Those aren't very expensive.
I would need to check on the reasoning as to why we would want a aircraft one. It could be that the fittings are just a little bit different. I think that they're the same. I've never emptied an RV, so I don't know. From what I've been told, from what I've seen, they look very similar, but it could be a different fitting. There could be a grounding issue that you have to have included with the aircraft. I don't know, but I can research that.
It could also be an FAA thing.
Yeah.
FAA may require a certain cart that is only allowed on tarmac or something.
Without giving me the details, I assume that there is a clear demarcation method for between small, mid, and large jets on this?
Yes.
Okay.
It comes down to the weight of the aircraft, and you can either do basic empty weight or max loaded weight on how you want to denote that. And most airports are pretty uniform as what those denotees are.
As long as there's an objective way to clarify, that's all I need to know right there.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
The last thing that I will say, typically with these facility fees, ramp fees, whatever we want to call them, you look at how much fuel that aircraft will burn in the first 1 hour that its engines are on, from engine startup to taxi, takeoff, and climb out, and you try to average that amount of fuel that is burned, and that is how you come up with the 200 gallons or $200, 150, 150, and it's just basically, if they come in and choose not to purchase gas from us, that $150 fee will cover them needing ice, a few pots of coffee, the pilots using the courtesy car to go get lunch and pick up catering, that type of thing. Because if they purchase fuel, we make money on the fuel sales, which covers those services that we are providing. They don't purchase fuel, they still are wanting those services, and we need to be compensated for that. If you guys don't want to make a decision, I think the guys really hit the nail on the head with these fees. I think it's something that we definitely should look at moving forward as an airport. It's very frequent that we are asked, we don't need gas. Do you guys have any fees that we can pay to cover this?
Do we have any projections about how much money this would bring in, assuming we have the same number of people buying or not buying gas?
I don't want to say which airport it was, but one airport manager said that their board went to a similar fee structure to this, and they are in northern Indiana, and in the first year, they made $78,000 in fees, and they sold an additional 55,000 gallons of fuel over what they had sold last year. just because people wanted to buy the fuel versus pay the fee.
John and Dan, you sat down and talked about this in a little more detail. What's your feeling about that?
I think we should do it.
Yep, I do too.
The research the boys did was pretty good, and, my only question is, on the higher, the mid and March, are we high enough?
That is why we wanted to bring it to you guys and have that discussion.
And I don't know what the rest of you think. How much, I don't remember the other numbers on the chart you boys had. On that mid-jet and March jet, what was the range of pricing that you saw?
For mid-jets or just in general?
Mid-jets and March jets, what was the range of numbers for those two categories?
It was honestly around that mark from when we called the airports. They all specified how much they charge, and smaller aircraft were most likely below $100, and they would go above $100 for larger charter jets or just jets in general.
This is just me professionally, if you are dealing with congestion issues at a large airport, a great example is Boston. They will add fees and add fees and add fees just to try and force people to go to another feeder airport because they are so over congested right now. A Citation XL, which would classify, I think it would be a small jet, and what we were looking at, it might be on the range of a mid, just to land and go to the ramp before you open the door is about $2,300 in all of their different fees, from landing fees, ramp fees, tie-down fees, security fees, you name it. I mean, a company's gonna be 10 grand before they even get their minimum fuel purchase. And that's just getting to the ramp. If you don't buy gas, there's gonna be additional fees, $500-600 on top of that. We obviously don't have that issue. We don't wanna chase business away by going to that model. But I agree, Dan, do we bump those $50? That's a discussion that the board needs to make. As airport manager, I think these numbers are a really good number to start with. Use them for a while. I can track it through Total FBO and see, and we can leave notes in there if customers are happy, unhappy, whatever the case is. And we can go from there and see if in a year those need to be adjusted up or down and really look at that.
How about, did you all talk about overnight tie-down fees?
We discussed it a little bit, but
Yeah.
again, it's something that we're not quite sure about. And I'm not in favor of those per se, especially not right now.
Okay.
And I totally agree with Nick. I think this is a good starting point. There's nothing that says we can't change it anytime we want.
Yep.
So, but this is a good place to start, and it's not totally unreasonable.
No, it's definitely not.
Is that where you are, kind of, Dan?
Yes.
So, right now, the board, I would gather, Gene, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I gather the board would probably be prepared to entertain a motion to at least install those charges for aircraft ramp/landing fees.
I'll make a motion that we adopt that fee schedule.
Would you like that effective immediately or effective January 1st so that we can put up some signage and update our website and get all of that around so returning customers know?
I'd like to do it immediately, but it's probably not fair.
I think most of we've talked with a lot of them and they know that it's coming because it's everywhere else. They expect it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. January 1st, okay with your motion, Jim?
January 1st is fine.
Okay. Is that okay with you, Dan? Okay.
Yes.
I know you're just smiling, like, I don't really want to say it.
I would like to re-evaluate this thing in about 6 months,
Sure.
Okay,
if not
Yeah.
sooner.
Okay, wherever you are in 6 months, you gotta come back and
All right.
tell us how it worked out.
If you're still in school.
Okay, there's a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
There you go.
Been moved and seconded to approve the ramp charge of fees as presented to the council, to the board. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Thank you for working to bring this to our attention. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Well, Jay, I just wanted to add something. You know, these gentlemen have really done a great service to this board by doing some of that legwork. And,
Yeah.
you know, our airport provides quality, professional, first-class service that we've been recognized for. And I think understanding how important it is we be compensated for it, I appreciate the board's consideration of that. That being said, I thank you, gentlemen, for your assistance. Nick, would you kind of introduce how you've, did you just pick the phone up and find these guys in the phone book, or how did you come across these two hard workers?
Well, it's actually the opposite of that. They picked up the phone and called the airport. They worked with Mrs. Heinzman out at Warsaw Career Center.
Yeah.
And they called and said, we are very interested in aviation. Both are looking at becoming professional pilots. They start school in the fall. I think both of them have applied to school. Okay?
Yes.
And they called out just to get some general work experience at airports. I know that a lot of our corporate pilots have been great. They'll take them out, put them in the aircraft, talk to them about what the day in the life of a corporate jet pilot or a charter jet pilot is. And some of our retired airline pilots have also had an opportunity to sit down and have discussions with them. And it's, at the beginning, I was a little nervous we wouldn't be able to make it happen because of insurance reasons, working with airplanes, young students. That was a little bit of a hiccup, but Jennifer was great and helped me work through all of that on the HR side. And it's been a lot of fun to have them on board this first semester here.
Nick, I would just say this is a really critical program for the schools to get the kids
Agreed,
out
yeah.
in the community. And I would ask that next year we contact them, now that you guys have paved the way for
Yep.
future internships, externships, whatever you want to call them. And I think it'd be great that we continue to have the quality of young men that they're showing, young men, young women, whoever applies.
Yeah.
This is a great experience for them. And I know school corporation, quality of our education in this community is great, and it's because of programs like this. So I would certainly ask that you continue this, and maybe we'll get them for the full year next year, right?
And these two are going to be with us for the full year this
Perfect.
year.
All
So
right.
Eric Coburn, former police officer from
Yep.
Warsaw who's retired, we worked tirelessly and we actually got an aviation class started at the high school that he is teaching, and it gets the students all the way through their private written exam. Both of these gentlemen, well, Will has been through it once, John is in it right now, and so they've taken the class, and that was how they came out to the airport. We always invite them out for a day, and that was how they were introduced to me, and they went to Mrs. Heinzman and said, is there any way we can make this happen? And we were able to do it, so we're really excited to have them out.
Well, good, thank you, Jim.
Very good, thank you.
Most pilots started out either hanging out at the airport or pumping gas at a local airport.
Yep.
Nationwide. And number two, more than half the pilots failed the test the first time, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, I think it's pretty important if there is a student at the high school who wants to get into being a pilot, I think it's important that they see the ground operations of even a smaller airport. It doesn't have to be a air. I think it's just good for them to see like what goes on, so they get an idea of just what goes on the ground, not just in the air. So I think that's a good idea. It's been great at the airport. We're learning a lot. It's been awesome.
Our fire territory has very similar programs for kids wanting to be firefighters, and this is just another great example of how we can certainly collaborate with the school system. And of course, we want you all to come back and work in Warsaw when you're done in school as well, so
Exactly.
keep that in mind.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you gentlemen tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right.
Leslie? Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Robert, you want to try talking again? Don't have anything yet. Let me try one other thing. Try now.
Great friends, Tracy.
Can you hear me now?
Now we got you.
She's in South Bend.
There we go.
Got the right speakers going.
Got the right speakers going.
We're good.
Sorry about that.
All good. I just wanted to make sure it was not me. Let me share my screen real quick.
Okay.
Read it, man.
You'll see that.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Quickly, runway 1836, we have submitted the grant paperwork, the amendment paperwork to FAA. We're awaiting FAA review for the agreement. We submitted the amendment more than 30 days ago, so the timeline is not FAA to complete. We've been badgering them up and down the organization at the Chicago ADO trying to get a response back. Still nothing. So we'll continue to annoy the FAA to try to get a response back on that amendment where we were expecting it, I think, last week, but we haven't heard. Radio silence up to this point. So we'll have probably a better update in the January board meeting.
Robert, one second.
Yeah,
There we go. That's what I was looking for. You're good.
we're good?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, you sound great now, Robert.
Yeah. We do have an invoice for signature. I think Nick has that in front of him.
Yep. This is, well, which one are you looking at? The power lines?
183605.
Yep, got that.
Yep.
When you get
No invoices on the power line. I think we deferred that until next month. So Jay, if you could, I'd like to get the signature for CHA invoice 58412.1-05.
Okay, what are they asking for, Nick?
Because of the grant amendment that we are working through with the FAA right now, both Fenton Brown and CHA have not been paid their final drawdowns yet. We have spoken with Victor. The work has been done. It's just paperwork in the FAA's point, from the FAA's end at this point. I don't think that it's right that services have been rendered and projects have been completed for over a year and we have not paid them yet. The FAA agreed. They allowed us to pay. We had the money locally to pay the CHA bill to totality. We did not have that money to do it for Fenton Brown, so they are allowing us to draw down to 97% of the project. That money is coming out of the FAA's fund because that is a 100% grant. This is just for the task order for CHA's work that we are paying. And once the grant amendment, once that amendment has been passed, we will be receiving this money back as a reimbursement from the FAA. They are hoping to have us that grant amendment at the beginning of the year. They're hesitant to say exactly when because of holiday and everything else. But we had the money in the budget and I thought it was the right thing to do.
Okay, and so what are they asking to get paid? What's the
So we have two invoices totaling $37,924.88, both under task order 1 for the runway 1836 rehab.
Okay, and we've been sitting there on this, essentially, that work was done a year ago.
Correct.
Okay.
Fenton Brown will be paid, Robert, $110,000 and change.
110 and change, yeah.
Yep. So we are finalizing that paperwork and hoping to get that to them here by the end of the year. So with the board's permission, it would be $37,924.88 to CHA.
I make that motion that we pay that.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
And then, Robert, do we need to have an approval for the Fenton Brown as well?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't have that one printed out, I apologize, but I can get that to Jay for signature tomorrow.
Yeah, I can,
If you, can you,
you have that, and
In my email, yeah.
Yeah, you're currently in position, okay, great.
Do you just have the amount for them to make the motion and approve?
Yeah, give me a minute. I'll do that here in a second. I'll grab it.
While he is looking for that, I'll bring up the, while you're looking for that, Robert, can I do the Zimmer Biomet door update?
You sure can.
Okay. So CHA has completed that task order. The Zimmer Biomet door is complete. And so we have a couple things to just clean up here at the end of the project. So we have pay request number 8 and pay request number 9 for Robinson Construction. Before we approve that, I will let the board know there was an oversight when we were designing when we put together the bid spec. We did not have in there for the interior finish coats of all of the steel of the bifold door to be painted. We had in there that they should be primed. I agreed with Dan that that was something that needed to be done, both to make it look good as well as to protect the steel. And it was only $7,000 over what we had originally budgeted for the project. So I went ahead and said that we should go ahead and do that because it will preserve the door for a longer period. We just need the board to approve this change order so that we can go ahead and get this bill paid.
Okay, yeah, we have to approve the change order because the cost of the change is incorporated in the bill that we're going to approve.
No, this will be presented at next month's
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
We are just approving it so he can submit the bill at
Got
next
it.
month's meeting.
Okay,
Do we need a motion on that?
yeah.
Yep, we need a motion to approve the
Motion
change
to,
order.
Proceed with that.
Been moved to approve the change order. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved in second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. One abstention. Motion carried.
And then, would you like to do each pay app individually, or would you like to do them together?
When you say each.
We have pay request number 8 and pay request number 9. Pay request number 8 was through the end of October for work completed, and that was totaling $70,987.50. And the pay app number 9 was for work completed through November 30th for a total of $78,988.38.
Okay, so the 78 number includes October and November work.
No.
It's two separate
Those
numbers.
are two separate
Oh,
numbers.
okay.
The total between the two is $149,975.88.
That's what I wanted to know, so. You problem taking it all in the same one fell swoop? I don't think it matters to me.
That's fine.
Okay.
I move that we pay whatever that total was to Robinson Construction.
That would be pay orders 8 and, pay apps 8 and 9?
Yep.
Okay,
There's the total.
got it. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve pay request 8 and 9 on the Zimmer Biomet hangar door projects. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say nay. One abstention, motion carried.
That will leave the final balance in January to be paid of $14,612.53.
Okay. And that includes the
That
cost of the change
includes
order.
the change order and the retainage that is still left.
Okay. Okay, we're back to Fendon Brown now?
Yeah, it's a $110,000 event. No change.
How can that be?
Yeah.
I've never approved an even number in all the years I've been on this board.
I got one for you right here, Jay.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, I've seen everything there is to see and I can die a happy man. So what you'd like, I think what you're saying is you'd like approval of this and authorization for me to sign the pay request when it's presented to me tomorrow.
That is correct. Yep.
So moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the Fenton Brown pay request of $110,000.00. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. I'll be around tomorrow. Won't be around Thursday. I'll be around Friday.
I'll get it to you first thing.
Okay.
Very good. For runway 27 obstruction mitigation, the power line project, the pre-construction agreement has been finalized. AEP has currently been developing the construction agreement. The steps needed to take before that construction agreement is in place. We had an update, a bi-weekly update this morning with AEP. The next steps are essentially the design team for the power line projects are going to be meeting with the planning department within AEP this week. I believe that is Thursday, the 16th, to introduce the project. So just to fill everybody in, typically an AEP project is brought to the design team by the planning department. This is kind of going in reverse. And so the design team is taking the project to the planning department. That's essentially to introduce the project, get planning on board, and get everything squared away within AEP internally. And they're expecting a January 2022 kickoff meeting once the planning, design, and other teams are in agreement on the process for the project. Subsequent to that meeting, the design team will be assigned and begin design. We're expecting some easement type field work with survey to happen in late January, early February. And the construction agreement is anticipated post field work. So we're anticipating that around early February. So the process is starting to move along. It'll start to get a lot hot and heavier here pretty quickly. Expecting a good board update for January 2022. Trying to work our way into that kickoff meeting. We have a new staff member on board at CHA, the 15-year veteran of the AEP. So working our way to the organization that way.
He started at AEP when we started this project.
There you go. That's right. That's right. Very good. And so he knows a number of people in the organization that are just above the design team and the folks that we were working with. So hit them from both sides to make sure that we stay on task, stay on schedule, and get this thing going on time. No invoices on that. We're going to defer all invoices until January. For the 927 runway improvement, last board meeting, we have completed the kickoff, the CIP, the coordination with FAA and NDOT, and CIP finalization has been completed and submitted to the FAA. We're awaiting some comments on that. If you remember, the CIP is pretty robust. It's a pretty robust 10-year program.
Yep.
So a financial feasibility study for future funding strategies has been discussed. Nick is coordinating with Baker Tilly on that. That will probably start early next year. And CHA is going to set up a task order agreement, which we discussed at the last board meeting, and we will propose that agreement for professional services at the January board meeting.
If I can just touch in on that quick, Robert, before you move on. I was able to get the financial feasibility study from Baker Tilly. The board already authorized the expenditure up to and not to exceed $20,000 on this study. I have all of the paperwork for that contract here, so we just need Jay to sign it, and we don't need a motion for that since it's already been approved. We've got that ready, and we can get it started here hopefully before Christmas.
Yeah.
How much is?
Up to and not to exceed 20,000.
Oh, okay.
So if it's time and materials, if it's less than that, if it goes a little bit quicker, it might not be as expensive. But they said, Jeff Rowe said that it would not be more than 20,000. So. Go ahead, Robert.
All right, and Nick already touched on the hangar door replacement, so that's all I got.
Okay. Board or the mayor have any questions for Robert, other than what we talked about, all right?
Nope.
Anything else for him, Nick?
No.
Okay, have a great holiday, Robert.
Thank you, Merry Christmas,
Merry
gentlemen.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Nick.
All right, continue on, well, we'll do the manager's report. Fuel usage, you guys will see we are still up about 10,000 gallons year over year for jet. And I will say that with the door being complete, we have seen Zimmer in and out more in the last month and a half than we have since, obviously, before they could park their aircraft in a hangar. So that's been very nice. And hopefully that will that trend will continue since they now have an operational door that they can come in and out of. That being said, I think we are going to, this is our really quiet time of year. There's a few key days where we have lots and lots of people traveling right before the holidays, but it's typically pretty quiet from Thanksgiving through the beginning of the new year. So I think we'll end the year up about 10,000 gallons, but overall, it'll be pretty flat, so.
Okay.
Other than that, if you don't have questions on the fuel usage report or the income statement specifically, I do have a couple end of year things just to bring up.
Any questions on these reports before we go on?
Nope.
Okay, proceed.
Alrighty, so if you see there, the Moore's, I have a couple things to bring up to you guys. The first one is a replacement of our 2019 zero turn. That is a 72-inch mower. We were slated to replace that this coming spring. They have a 2021 model left that they can get a hold of at 2021 prices, which will save us $2,800 year over year. That's how much next year's model is going to go up. And since we were unable to purchase the snow plow truck this year like we were hoping because of supply chain issues, this, I think, is a very good use of funds to purchase a product we were going to look at purchasing next year, and this will free up funds next year to purchase a snow plow truck. So we're just flip-flopping these two purchases.
And we talked about that last month.
We talked about this last month. This is I am proposing that we go to the 96-inch. We tried that a few years ago. We went from two 72-inch mowers to a 96 and a 72-inch mower, and the amount of time that we are spending mowing the airport has been cut in half, which frees my staff to be able to go and work on other projects. Where the 72-inch took 3 passes on each one of our runways and 2 passes on each one of the taxiways, the 96-inch needs 2 passes on the runways and 1 pass on the taxiways. So we've gone from between 100 and 120 hours of mowing per week down to about 60 to 70 on an average week. I believe that with another 96, we could cut that in half yet again. I think we'd be down in the 35 to 40 hour range. We're saving fuel, we're saving time, we are able to do other projects in-house, which I'm going to touch on here in a second, and I think that it would be a very, very good investment for the airport.
Okay, so what will we be laying out now?
We would be I would need approval from the board to trade in our 2019 Toro 72-inch, which they are providing $4,500 in trade, for a 96-inch. The total cost of that before trade was $37,000. After trade, it would be $32,500, and we do have that in our budget.
And there would be no particular benefit, given the fact we've got another 72-inch, to holding on to this 72-inch.
We would no longer have a 72. They would both be 96. So it will actually streamline we'll be able to only keep one set of belts, one set of blades, one set of air filters, all that type of thing. So
Okay,
it'll be a lot easier.
got you. So, questions, comments from the board?
I would move that we approve this purchase, yes, as outlined.
Do I hear a second?
Yep.
We moved and seconded to purchase the 96-inch Toro, correct?
Right.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Okay, the second item on there is the tractor that we've been discussing. I need board authorization to close on this tractor. And I am going to ask for the board to authorize the presented financing. And the reason I'm asking for your authorization to close until we sit down and sign the note, we don't know exactly what the interest rate is going to be. The reason that that is important, we have two options with this purchase. Kubota will finance it for us at 0% for 60 years, and they have given us a discount for that. If we finance through a third party, AKA a different bank, we have the ability to get an additional cash price discount on top of that. I have worked with First Source, and I've spoken with the city attorney and James Emmons, the city engineer, to make sure that we do not need to go out to bid for that, because we already do business with them and it's financing the tractor. We don't. If they are able to finance the tractor at a low enough of an interest rate, the cash discount from Kubota is substantial enough that we could actually save an additional $2,000 or $3,000 on the tractor.
Because Kubota's not carrying our loan then.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I would need, what I am asking is for your approval to close in up to and not to exceed $32,500 in annual payments, which is what we would be paying Kubota if we paid them at the 0%. But if I can negotiate a lower rate with a bank and receive the cash discount and lower our total cost for the machine, that is what I would like to do, because it will save us money over the 5-year note of the loan.
Okay, and currently, the total price for this under the Kubota deal is the subtotal of $206,885. Am I looking at the right place? With a trade-in allowance of 17, and that subtotal of 183,685, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so you would want to approve the payments as well as the cap price.
Correct. So this price that is shown here is with that cash price in place. So we do have the backup of the 0% with Kubota if the interest would be higher. If that happens, we just won't go through the third party, and that $32,500 is what our payments to Kubota would be.
Right, so a motion to close the deal with a max net of 183,685 and a max payment of the 32,500.
Correct.
And because any other deal you make is going to be lower on both of those numbers.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
is that a motion, G?
Yes.
Okay. Been seconded?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, saying nay. Motion carried.
Okay.
When will you be able to determine if we're gonna get this loan to a bank?
Tomorrow morning.
Okay,
That'll be one of the first things I do tomorrow.
okay.
Next, this was just brought to my attention from Ryan Workman, the city's stormwater coordinator. There's a new statute for underground storage tanks, of which we have 3. The board went through the process of getting a certificate of financial assurance back in July 30th of 2019. Now the state is requiring that we have it's called a certificate of financial responsibility that is adopted by the board. We already have it, it's just the board ratifying and putting in our minutes that we have voted on this and this is how we would pay for an illicit spill if we ever did have one. So this is just a new piece of paper that we have to have for the state.
Does not involve any of us writing a check.
It does not,
Oh, yeah.
no. It is just saying that the airport carries insurance and has on-hand cash to pay the deductible underneath the state's underground petroleum storage excess liability trust. We pay into that trust every year. That is our underground storage tank fee. And that provides us with $2.5 million of insurance if our underground storage tanks leak. This is just saying that we would have the financial responsibility of what the deductible is, which is $15,000 in this case. Which, if we had an underground storage tank leak, obviously we would need to do that. So
Yeah.
we just need a motion, and then for Jay to sign it and John to witness it and also sign it. And then I will post this and we will be good to go.
This would be a motion to sign this, is that?
Just a motion to approve that document.
Oh, I move that we approve that document.
There's a motion to approve the certificate of financial responsibility.
Second.
Been seconded. Any further discussion? Questions?
So,
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Okay.
Just
Next.
sell drugs.
There's more?
There's just a little bit more. I'm sorry, it's the end of the year, so I gotta get my last couple things in here. So with that extra time that we have from not mowing as much grass in the summer, one of the things that we are going to be able to do this spring is bring some of our pavement repair in-house. The street department has graciously worked with my staff and myself to come up with a plan to get some members out to teach us how to use some different products so that we can start doing some of that work in-house, not on runways, but on taxiways, ramps, and aprons. There is a product that, since we are going to be replacing our north-south taxiway in a while, hopefully a year or two, we don't want to sink a lot of money into that, but I think Dan and John can both attest to how terrible that taxiway is. This product is a really good Band-Aid. The FAA has used it in airports with these types of cracks and seen 7 to 10 years of life. We're hoping to have it replaced within that time. And instead of paying a contractor $150,000 to $170,000 to replace those cracks, we will do it for about $37,500. So I was just letting you know, we have made a purchase of this product. The company is Sealmaster out of South Bend. Well, they're out of Indianapolis. We work with the branch out of South Bend. This will be 13 pallets of product, and the total is $37,440. The agreement that the city has with Sealmaster is every pallet that the city purchases, we get the machine to install it for free for a week. So we are going to get quite a few weeks of this machine down here, which normally would rent for a few $1,000s a week. And this will allow us to go out and Band-Aid all of these cracks until we can get the pavement actually resurfaced here in a couple of years.
how
So
does this piece of equipment work? Does it take out
no.
where the damage is, or?
Nope, so we will go through and blow all of the cracks out to clean them out with compressed air.
Okay,
And then this product is similar to a tar, just your regular crack fill, except it actually has aggregate built into the rubber to give it a strength. It's got a 400 PSI strength rating or something like that, which crack fill doesn't have any strength rating whatsoever. And it's very flexible, so it moves with the pavement. We tested it a few years back. We had Reese Seal Coating out of Indianapolis come up. To pay a company to install it is $16 or $17 a foot. And we are able to purchase these for, I think, $23.30 a pallet, which, depending on the size of the crack, is gonna give you obviously substantially more than, $19 a foot. So
And give me a visual, is this machine like a power mop size, power waxer
Kind of.
size, or do they have to hop up on a seat with a steering wheel?
no, let me see if I can pull up the machine here. So it is a machine like this that you put just a 40-pound block of this aggregate into this machine, and it heats that up. This is an older model. This is not what the new ones look like. And let me see if I can find a better picture. Actually, that's a better picture right there. That's a Craftco mastic machine. And so then you just go through and, like a normal crack seal, it puts this out, but it's a much bigger nozzle because of the aggregate. And it's small aggregate, it's not very large rocks. And then you go behind that with a heated, it looks like a plate on a stick, and it just flattens it out, and it gives it a very, very smooth transition surface on the crack.
And it looks roughly like a golf cart that
Yep.
has the machine on the back of it, and you haul it up to the crack, you hop off the cart, and,
Away you go.
okay.
Yep.
the ball and keep going.
So the street department has used this on several different streets throughout the city to great success. The few cracks that we tested it on have held up very well for the last few years. We're actually gonna go back and touch those up once we get the product and the machine in. The ground does have to be warmer than 40 degrees, but again, they were willing to honor 2021 prices if we purchased it this year, which is why we put the order in. And then the street department will go up and pick that up with their order and bring it back and drop it off for us at the airport. And then this spring, when it gets warm enough, they'll bring the machine down and drop it off at the airport, and away we go.
And how does this aggregate get heated up?
So this machine has a diesel oil heater in it, and it heats the oil, and it's in a large coil, and it runs through a circulation to heat the blocks up to about 360 degrees. And then it goes through those pipes, and it's very much like a normal rubber crack fill operation at that point.
That seems like an awful safe operation, the
Yeah.
way it's designed.
Yep.
Okay.
And like I said, the street department has used it. They have staff qualified, and they're gonna come out and give us the training for it,
Okay.
so. So if you just wanted to give you a heads up on that, the last thing two last things, we were able to get our Ver Tower set up. This was thanks to the wastewater department. They let us use their cherry picker, and we were able to get up to the beacon. And we are now able to very accurately track aircraft coming and going, what runways are being used, what taxiways are being used. Both the state and the FAA are very excited that we went with this program because it does give such accurate data. And we will hopefully be able to receive more funding for our runways because we will show them how much we are using them.
Okay.
Last thing, I have been approached by the Parks Department. They, in their master plan, they have seen a need for additional park space to the north of the city as the city is expanding north. They have approached the airport to see if the board would be interested in allowing them to use this U section of ground, maybe not all at once, but phase the projects. We are in the infant stage of researching this, but they did want to reach out and see if there were any objections or brakes that would be pumped before they put a lot of time and effort into exploring this option further. I think it would be a fantastic use of our land. Yes, we do get some cash rent from the crops out there, but I think that number is not very high and would not be a huge detriment to the airport's overall annual budget. And I personally love the idea of getting more public out to the airport, show them what we do on a day-to-day basis, and have some green space. I'm not sure exactly how it would be, if there would be some fields or some walking paths. That would be working with the Parks Department and letting them come up with a lot of those design ideas. But they did ask if the board would even entertain working with the parks to collaborate on something like that.
Is that area marked for anything on our master plan?
No.
And can you visualize any kind of limitations that park activities would place on our landing or takeoff approaches? And I assume that that's part of the thing that has to be investigated before we would do anything.
I have had brief discussions with Robert and Nathan. They do not see any reason why we would need to limit that. And the nice thing with green space, if for whatever reason we would need to take it back, we could work with the park on doing that. But there is nowhere in our master plan that shows that land being used for anything other than farmland. So I personally fully support this. I think it is a great idea. I would love to partner with the city and have some more green space, however that would look. And I would ask that you guys at least consider this.
Well, personally, I wouldn't mind talking to him about it. I don't want to commit to anything yet, but, because I don't know exactly
Talk is
what's gonna
easy.
happen. But I'm glad to talk to
Yeah.
him, sure.
They have a Parks Board meeting